How's it going, everybody? Dale Wolfhart. Welcome back to NASCAR Heat 5. It's been a solid minute. Oh, when is actually the last time I've recorded this? March 20th. It's been over a month, it looks like, and that's mostly just because I don't really like this game that much, but it's a Sunday. It's May 1st. And, I didn't have anything better to do. We're getting pretty close to the end of the season here. We're leading points by about 20 points over Kyle Busch, which I'm liking. We just concluded the round of 16, of which we obviously advanced past. One moment. And so because of that, that means that we've got a new round of drivers potentially being cut off. Jimmy Johnson, Eric Jones, Ty Dillon, and Matt Kenseth were not able to make it farther into the playoffs this season. Now the cutoff line starts with Ryan Newman, Chase Elliott, real-life 2020 Cup winner, Ryan Blaney, and William Byron. We've got 3 races to go through here in the round of 12. We're going to start with the South Point 400 at Las Vegas. Then we're going to move on to the Alabama 500 at Talladega. I don't know what that little background thing is above the word Alabama is, but wherever in Alabama that is, that's where I want to be, tell you what. And then the Bank of America 400, I think it was the Bank of America Roval 400? The Bank of America 400 Roval? Bank of America, I don't know how that's supposed to be said, but the Bank of America 400 at the Charlotte Roval. This one's going to be the most interesting, I would say. Then, in episode 19, we're going to move on to 3 more races in the round of 8. And then we will finalize this series at episode 20. Race 36. Alright, let's move on to race number 30. We got 3 races for this episode. Let's get her done. Vegas is an alright track. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it other than that. Ironically, most of the cookie cutter tracks that I prefer over the others are the D-shaped ovals, even though I don't really like racing D-shaped ovals. I greatly prefer racing tri-ovals, but I do think the D-shaped ovals make for a little bit more interesting racing over a tri-oval. Let's say Kansas or Michigan or Chicagoland, which is probably why they're getting rid of Chicagoland. But I mean, Vegas, I don't actually remember how we did at Vegas the first time. That might have been during the point of recession in the playthrough, or that might have been at the point of good finishes. I guess we'll find out. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to qualifying here and get a feel for how our car is running and see if we can overall get done what we want to get done, shall we? I don't know how my audio mixing is working for this episode here. With my new controller, it seems to be a bit quieter than my old one, and NASCAR's always been a very loud game, so it's possible I might have to turn game audio down to 20 instead of 30. I suppose we'll find out. Anyway, let's see how our qualifying lap is looking so far. Oh shit. Alright, not a great way to spend that qualifying lap, as I kind of forgot that I do in fact have to let off here. That is definitely not going to help us. A bad finish can be very well counteracted by a win. I'm not exactly sure what track I would win at. And there's our lap. 13th. Not a great start, but It'll work. Let's take a look at where some of our playoff guys are at. I don't remember if William Byron's in it. Kyle Busch is the man to beat. He's only 20 points ahead of him, and he's sitting in second. Third place in points is behind me, so that's good at least. I don't have to, you know, I don't have to be first in points. I just have to make sure that well, I don't have to be first in points until Phoenix, let's just say. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the race at Vegas, number 2. John Hunter Nemechek just doesn't look like himself today. William Byron's car is really fast today, and Daniel Suarez will be starting at the back due to an engine change. Alright, let's get her done.
Time to go.
I shifted a little bit earlier than the cars around me, so that's going to be a bit annoying, hearing all of them shift a little bit earlier. Oh well. Oh, trying to get the number 9 car a little bit loose as a result of just getting a little too close. I haven't raced this game in a long time either, so I'm still like trying to remember. I race totally different in SRX than I do in this game, which I might do the SRX career mode after this series is up. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to go, but and I haven't even done it yet after getting that game quite a while ago, but who knows? Never hurts to have a few more series on the channel, I suppose, especially after we end one. And we'll talk more about that after episode 20, because I am thinking about ending the series after the first season. I didn't initially plan on that, but I kind of am now. Anyway, we're crawling up in positions here. We're going to pass Kyle Busch on the outside here. And we're going to go kind of wide there, make a little bit of contact with that 2 car, and a little bit more with that 48 car. And Kevin Harvick's on the inside. I'm going to try and stay off of him without running into the wall. Didn't initially do too great of a job with. There's that. Oh, that's actually Clint Boyer. Correction. That is not Kevin Harvick, that is Clint Boyer. A driver ooh! 48 car got a little bit on my quarter panel. Slide under that 48 car. Try and stay under the 14 car. Well, that 24 car of William Byron's definitely going to be the one to beat. I don't remember if he was in the playoffs or not, but if he is, this is going to be pretty big for him. And I believe Boyer was eliminated in the last round, meaning that he likely will not make it through. Although if he is still in playoff contention, then this is going to be a really good finish for Clint Boyer. Could even put him in the championship 4. If he keeps his performance up in the round of 8. Byron is pretty far ahead at this point. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to be able to really gain sizably on him. We're about halfway through. We are halfway through at this point. We're getting a decent lead over Clint Boyer here, but it remains to be seen whether or not that lead against Clint Boyer is really going to make a difference. Whatever the hell that was supposed to mean. That was one of those racing and talking moments where I was doing a little more racing than talking, so I was just kind of speaking out of my ass there in favor of paying attention to the race. I don't know, I think unless I majorly screw up, even then with my lead, oh, Kyle Busch has passed Clint Boyer. So he's probably going to be staying in his spot, unless we both get pushed back by William Byron, in which case then we might be a little bit farther behind. I remember Chase Elliott, pretty interestingly, was behind the cutoff, and so I'm kind of curious as to where he placed here, because that's going to be a real kicker in deciding, you know, whether or not Clint Boyer actually, or Chase Elliott, you know, does as well as one might expect him to, with the year that this game was based off of. Alright, we got 3 laps remaining. This one's gonna be big. And by that I meant absolutely nothing. It's gonna be big for Byron, because Byron is just gonna continue kind of keeping his distance. Oh, and I just realized that Vegas is actually a D-shaped oval. It's not a tri-oval. I just now looked at the thing to see that this is in fact a D-shaped oval, so that might explain why I prefer it. Or why I don't mind it. I don't know, it is kind of strange. I'm excited to see how Texas goes, which I believe is in the round of 8. I think that could be very interesting. And William Byron is going to take a white flag, and now myself. Looks like that 18 car is still taking up 3rd. We'll go ahead and open up the leaderboard here. Hamlin has passed Boyer, so it looks like Boyer is not going to be getting quite as many points as he could have. Hamlin is 3rd in points, so we're pretty much sitting, you know, about as one would expect. William Byron is going to take the win here at Vegas, and I'm going to take a solid 2nd place finish. After that, I think that's a good way to start off the playoffs. We're going to get a speed rating of 98 out of 105. Let's take a look at our standings here. Keselowski started a little bit higher up. He started in, what's it, 13th? And that is now Kurt Busch's position was eliminated in the last round. Chase Elliott in 12th, outside of the top 8, which is really where he wants to be. And just outside, and pretty much finished dead last. If every person in the top 12 is in the playoffs, he finished dead last. But like Ryan Blaney is in 15th, and he was in the top 12, so Blaney's probably going to be farther down in points than Elliott is, depending on how many they started off with. Yep. So here's your updated playoff standings. I am now in 2nd behind William Byron, who won this race and has locked in an advancement to the round of 8. Kyle Busch has been bumped down to 3rd. Denny Hamlin bumped down to 4th. I will say my points lead over them, well, actually it's 59, it's like 21 points. So it's still not too sizable. One bad finish could put me pretty far below him, although likely not outside of the cutoff line. I think I have enough points to remain in the cutoff line in spite of a bad finish. But I suppose it kind of depends on how everybody finishes. Then we got Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex Jr., and Joey Logano. Then we have Kevin Harvick rounding out the round of 8. Rounding out the advancing drivers in the round of 8. Now, he's only got 4 points ahead of Kurt Busch, which is not a whole lot. So, it's entirely possible that really, you know, 6th and behind could definitely do a little bit of bouncing around depending on where they start off. Kurt Busch, Chase Elliott, Ryan Newman, and Ryan Blaney were outside of the cutoff line. I got the fastest lap at 31.803, which is not that fast. William Byron led the whole fucking race. He was definitely on top of things in today's race. But I don't know. The first one doesn't really I don't think this race really affects quite as much as the one following it. The ones following it. Although you definitely can't break it, you can't, and I guess you can make it too, so I don't know. It was really important for William Byron, though, who's going to come out with the win here. Anyway, now we're going to be moving on to race number 31 at Talladega. Now, this is the second race of the season at Talladega. Our first time around, we got, let me see here, third, behind Ty Dillon and Corey LaJoie. That's one of the interesting things about a lot of plate tracks, is that they tend to have pretty interesting finishes. The top 8, only 2 of them are playoff contenders. 3 of them, sorry. Okay, I guess 4 of them. So half of the top 8 is playoff contenders. But like Ty Dillon, Corey LaJoie, Michael McDowell, I don't even think Ty Dillon made it into the playoffs in spite of his win. I think the rest of his season's performance was too bad. Okay, Ty Dillon did make it into the playoffs. He was 14th in the playoff standings. I think it was Michael McDowell who didn't, or not Michael McDowell. He's the one who won the Daytona 500 last year in real life. Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek, who I think placed well out of that. I got the win at Darlington though, which was cool. That helped a lot. All right. Let's move on to Talladega. We finished well. The first time around, we don't need a win. Only 3 drivers at most can lock themselves into the playoffs. So if I just get some good finishes and keep myself in the top 4, well, this is the round of 12 actually, so it's not like that pertinent. If I just remain reliable, even get probably 2 more top 10s, I'll probably be just fine for this round. Still going to be gunning for the win, but I'm not going to like put my season on the line. Not just yet, at least. I'm not going to pull a 20, what was it, 2020 Kevin Harvick? Yeah, I think so, where he tried to wreck Kyle Busch to make it into the round of 4, but it didn't really turn out too well for him. Alright, let's get going. Qualify.
Go, go, go.
Alright. So Talladega is a fairly interesting track. Personally, in terms of racing it, I do kind of prefer it over Daytona. I think the finish line's location is really good for adding a bit of extra excitement to the race, because even though the laps are, at the same time, it would be the same time either way, they feel longer since they're passing the traditional spot of the finish line. But, I mean, plenty of races have been decided in that little stretch between the traditional starting line and Talladega's starting line. So, anything is possible. Alright. And begin. We have 2 laps to decide our qualifying position. The goal is a 49.069. I believe that's top 10. So, as long as we cut into a 49.069, we'll be cutting into the top 10. Alright. And I just got to thinking, I'm curious as to how my season stats compare to other rookie seasons, or even just other seasons in general. Because first lap is going to be outside of the goal, But that is why we're provided 2 laps. In case you didn't do too hot the first time around. Because at a plate track, you know, small things make a huge difference. And also, your first lap tends to be slower just because you haven't quite hit full speed yet. Anyway, let us keep going. Trying to break into that top 10, that goal position. That's what we're searching for. But yeah, I feel like it'd be kind of interesting to like compare my season, because I feel like overall the AI difficulty's been pretty fair. I haven't felt like it was dominating. Ooh, just outside. I'm like just outside, way outside, because this is a plate track, and hundredths of a second make a huge difference. I'm going to be starting back here with Kevin Harvick, who seems to be pretty bad at plate tracks in this game, I've noticed. And again, a lot of interesting starts towards the front. Kyle Busch takes the pole, which is bad news bears for me. But Eric Almirola, Corey LaJoie, Justin Haley, Brendan Gaughan, Ty Dillon, Ryan Preece, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Out of the top 10, we have many drivers who are not eligible for the playoffs. Kyle Busch, though, is sitting on the pole, which, like I said, means it's pretty likely that he could be the next one to lock himself in. If so, we might be encountering a little bit of trouble. Where is the 11 car? 17th. He's not doing great. So it's pretty likely that we might be able to squeeze something out there. Alright, our goal position is 10th. We're well out of that at the starting position, but let's see how we end up doing, because I suck at qualifying at plate tracks, but I'm really good at coming back up. Matt DiBenedetto has been struggling all weekend. Denny Hamlin failed technical inspection, and Kyle Busch is your pole winner.
Coming to the green.
Alright,
Ready.
let's get to it.
Green out. Let's go.
We're sitting back here with Chris Buescher.
Careful. Still there.
I was going to say earlier during the qualifying lap, it's like overall I feel like my
On the wheel. Bottom three.
the AI has been fair, and I feel like I've experienced enough difficulty. You know, I'm not consistently finishing towards the back, and I am winning a lot for a rookie, but I do feel like the difficulty was good for the series overall. The 11 car is starting at the back too. I don't know if it said that, but it looks like this race is really just going to be a battle between myself and the 11 car for the better finish. We're not really climbing back a whole lot, which is a little bit disappointing. I thought we would be gaining a little bit more. So we're going to have a lot to fight back with. Because we're really not getting a whole lot of a run here. And the 11 car is not being so kind to me either. Which of course does not help.
Careful. Still there. Clear down low. Car outside.
Alright, we're starting to gain a few positions here. Yeah, Harvick's in around the 12 too. But he was towards the bottom, so actually this race could break his playoff chances. Seeing as he's farther back than the majority of people in the cutoff as well. So this could be really bad news for the 4 team. Potentially. Oh, caught a little bit of wind there. That actually might have been Clint Boyer. I thought it was just a weird game thing, but that could have been Clint Boyer catching my quarter panel and sending me up the track. Fortunately, I was able to recover at least a lot better than he did. I'm going to do a little bit of drafting the Truex here. Trying to recover my liking with this driver. Not sure if that's how it works, though, because I know like sharing draft in the old games would allow you to become allies with people, which is so much harder than just accidentally tapping them and losing 46 points of ally points, but you know, whatever. Anyway, 5 laps to go. A little bit less than halfway. And keep it going in hopes that we can gain a handful more positions and maybe just simply do better. Tried to go low to kind of break out of the draft and pass Truex here, but I seem to just be kind of stuck behind him. A little bit of contact with that 95 car. Send a little bit of tire squeal, but doesn't sound like it got behind him too bad. I'm going to try and go in kind of the middle here and see what I can make out of that. Whoa, Truex is going to come up the track on me. Making things a little bit more difficult. I'm going to go back down to the bottom just so I don't give that up in case I need to. Okay, we're passing a couple cars here. A little bit of contact with Truex. A little more contact with Truex, and he's forced me below the line. So I dumped him. Big contact. Oh! Big wreck. The big one at Talladega happens. Alright, we're pretty much getting no better than like 25th at this point. I'm going to keep rolling with it. We're past the halfway point in the race, although not by much. Which means that I don't feel like restarting this race, but that is going to be a huge blow to my not my playoff hopes necessarily, but it's just a huge blow to the race in general. Harvick is placed above me at the moment. This means I'm going to have to race like hell at the Oval, though. Getting some bump drafting from the 00 from who? Catching up a little bit with Carter here. Trying to work with that bump draft there. Not doing a very good job though, I must say. Well, Hoof's going to go low to pass. I'm going to try and let him go. I'm going to have a couple words with Truex after the race, though. Motherfucker would not let me go. Back onto the track. Whoa, a little bit of contact with the 1 car. Ooh, a little bit of contact with the 95 once again, and the 42 is sent spinning. He was already eliminated in the last round, so fortunately his placement here is not going to affect his race too much, but not going to be making quite as much money as you might have initially wanted. And continue drafting with Quinn Hoof until I said that, in which case now we are no longer. Alright, final lap. Running 30th. We got a few cars in range, but not very many. Ooh, we're gonna let a bunch of cars go. We're kind of falling apart here on the last lap. We'll try and catch a draft and stay in the group. Although there's 2 cars behind me, could potentially pass me if they so chose to. Almost a little wide there. Almost a little wide there. That could have went pretty poorly. Fortunately, it did not. Stay low here, and we're gonna sit pretty comfortably in 33rd with the rest of that group just kind of staying ahead of me. Speed rating of 97, which is a crock of shit. Plays 33rd. Hamlin plays 36, which is great news for me. Harvick plays 29th. Great news for him. We don't see another contender for a while. Elliott 15th. Keselowski 14th. Wow. Kyle Busch went all the way down to 8th. Ryan Blaney at the bottom of the playoff standings got himself a 6th place finish here, ahead of Kyle Busch. This could be really good for his playoff points, and could even possibly put him above the cutoff line. John Hunter Nemechek once again doing very well at a plate race, and Joey Logano is your winner, and I believe he is in the playoffs, which means he is going to come from the relative low end of the of above the cutoff line to advancing to the next round. Truex remains below the cutoff line. Harvick also remains below the cutoff line. Newman as well, and Kurt Busch is now at the bottom of the cutoff line after Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney kind of crawled themselves up a little bit. Hamlin falls pretty far down, and Busch still remains in third, more than likely due to my horrible placement in today's race. So I got the fastest lap for some reason, even though I was getting absolutely just fucking demolished in this race. So yeah, that was definitely one of the yeah, that was definitely one of the rougher plate races that I've taken part in. That was not up to my standards, I must say. It's probably my worst placement in the playoffs so far, if I had to guess. I'm actually kind of curious to see if it was. Anyway, we're moving on to the final race of the playoffs, of this playoff segment, Charlotte Roval, which I will be turning on assists for, because I just simply need them. Actually, whatever, we'll roll with it. I don't expect to win here, but if I can at least keep myself above the cutoff line, which I've got a decent amount of points ahead, I shouldn't have too many issues. So those are only lock-ins for the next playoff race, but we've got one more potential winner, and then we've got a bunch more drivers who could potentially lock themselves in. So let's go ahead and just see what's going on. We've got a lot of drivers who come up through some deficits. We've got a lot of movement during this playoff race, so let's see if the drivers can keep it up, and who's going to make it and who isn't. Kind of a let's see here. I don't know. I really don't know. Charlotte Roval is one of my least favorite tracks in the game. I do not like the Charlotte Roval, although I do like watching it. I think it's given some pretty decent racing, and just like the Indy Roval, I think it's provided something interesting to the sport. But I don't like racing in video games. The abundance of chicanes is very annoying, an issue that both Sonoma and Watkins Glen don't really have. I would practice, but I don't feel like wasting all that time. But this should hopefully help me a solid bit at just trying to keep competitive. I don't expect to win, definitely, but I think remaining competitive is definitely at least the goal here. Getting a better finish than last time and keeping myself in it. I've put a lot of work in this season. I've done very well. I think it would be a total blunder of the playoff system if I were to get eliminated here. Although the likelihood of getting eliminated is pretty much non-existent at this point. I think I'm too far ahead to get put under the cutoff line at this stage with only this one race. But like I said, I don't expect to win, and that's not going to help me too much in the round of 8 if I'm towards the bottom of the playoff standings. Although it won't affect my entry into the round of 8, I really still want to keep it in that top 4. And I'm going to have to put in a lot more work in the round of 8 if I don't stay competitive in the round of 12. That's really going to be the deciding factor here. Let's just go ahead and see how this qualifying lap is going to go for us. I'm pretty intrigued to see how I'm going to be able to look at this. We're going to shift into first when we don't have to, which is not the play. Avoid doing that, shall we? Man, I had to go all the way down to first in that game. That's pretty fucking slow. Oh. A little bit of curve hop in there. Boom. 11th. Just outside of that top 10. It's kind of funny going from a plate track to a road course because the way that they race is just totally different. Why did I just stand up? Oh, I don't know. I don't think I meant to do that. Yeah, I don't think I did. I'm not sure why I did that. That was kind of stupid. Alright. So our goal position, like I said, is 10th. We're starting 11th. A great sign. Well, the leader will just kind of run away with it, but we'll see how it goes. David Reagan posted some fast laps in practice. He should have a pretty good race. Chase Elliott, he's a good friend of mine. And Tyler Reddick failed pre-race inspection. He'll be starting at the back. We'll go ahead and let it run through the little thing here. So I took that long to do it. Alright. Off we go for the final race of the round of 12. Uh-oh. Don't... Ooh, that could have been really bad. I did not like starting in the chicane. There's Braxton's car for this season, the South Point car, the Beard Oil 62. Tried to kind of go low around gone, but it didn't really work.
Clear left. Still there. All clear.
We'll bump on the one car who is in around the 12. He is a car to beat. So is that 12 car and the 11 car up here. These are also important guys to beat. Well, we are in 8th, so it's entirely impossible at this point to be placed out of the playoffs. Uh-oh, unless that could be a season ender though right there. With something like that. Fortunately, it was only on lap 1, so, but I gotta be more careful to do that as time goes by, because that can really fuck you over. Alright, good first lap. Liking what we're doing so far. Let's keep it up. Shall we?
Right side.
Right side, yeah, you don't say. It's the first time I really said anything all race. Shifted into first when I didn't have to. in more contact with that number one. We're finally going to pass it though, at least. It looks like we did complete the pass. All of a sudden it is getting very hot in this room. In spite of it being only 56 degrees outside, I have a reason to believe that it's probably like 85 in this room. Holy shit.
Still there. Car left. Clear all around.
Alright.
Car left. Still there. Left side, left side.
Oh, did you see how much airtime that 18 car was getting? Good lord.
Good last run.
Alright, I gotta try and run it really hard here. If I don't have any hopes of cracking that top 5. There's that Kyle Busch.
Careful, still there. Right side, right side.
We're getting kind of shoved out of the way by the 42 here.
Right side.
No, 47, sorry.
Right side. All clear. Right side, right side.
They're really getting shoved. 40.
Right side, right side.
Can't quite complete the pass on that car. Okay, well, Kurt Busch did.
Right side.
And we're gonna try and get the 18 car out of my way.
All right, you're clear.
Which we did. 18 car is now behind me. It's a great sign. Yeah, I really gotta just try my best to not get too far ahead of myself, cutting corners on those chicanes, because that could completely ruin a good race. Be real careful. And actually, upon racing this, I must say I am feeling a bit more liking towards the Charlotte Roval than I thought I would have. Again, there's an uh-oh move right there, getting a little bit too risky. I gotta really... again, with the corner cutting, let's cut that out before we end up losing a race to it. A little bit of red line action, because why not? You know, why not? Who cares? Yep, yeah, my voice just said, fuck you, you're not. Oh. If you couldn't already tell, I was not paying nearly enough attention to that chicane. That was bad news bears. The 6 car is way ahead. Ryan Newman, it looks like he's going to be your winner. In a very surprising finish. Oh boy! We're going to lose to Rowdy Busch there in a last minute curb hop near spin out. We saved it, not quite enough to place ahead of Busch. We did still stay ahead of Kurt Busch at the very least. So yeah, Ryan Newman is your winner, Almirola in second. Ryan Blaney in third. He's had a strong performance during this playthrough. This could actually end up being pretty good for him. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, myself, Kurt Busch. Let's take a look at the playoff standings after this. So, Martin Truex Jr. is going to be at the bottom of the round of 12. Kurt Busch, although finishing pretty well in this race, he just didn't quite get enough points. I mean, he was about 14 points behind. Not too far. Not too far. Kevin Harvick was 11 points down. Unfortunately, just not some strong races. So he's been eliminated. Same thing with Chase Elliott. Quite a surprise. Ryan Blaney was able to crawl out of the deficit to have a 12-point lead over Chase Elliott. Pretty impressive. Brad Keselowski remains on just the outside of that cutoff line. And Denny Hamlin rounds out that section, along with myself, finishing in 5th, with Logano, Newman, and Byron locking themselves into the next playoff round. Very interesting. I, for once, did not get the fastest lap, as I should not. At least the game finally figured that one out. So I think this round of 8 is going to be pretty interesting in terms of the drivers we see come out on top. Our winners were kind of interesting. Byron was towards the bottom of the playoff standings, if I remember correctly. He locked himself in. He advanced to the round of 8. Let's go! That... I don't know. There's a lot of intrigue into this next one. Incentive track contract completed, which means we're going to have to sign a new one. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Points Leader. Thank you. Alright. And now, the next 3 races, 2 top 10s. So, let's take a look at the point standings going into the round of 8. Blaney, Byron, Newman, and Logano. Ironically, all of our winners. Logano, Newman, and Byron. All sit below the cutoff line for the championship 4. Which is going to be interesting. So, as it sits right now, myself, Busch, Hamlin, and Keselowski will be your championship 4. I think it's a decently interesting one. But Logano, Newman, Byron, and Blaney could do any myriad of things. They're at worst 20 points out. I think Blaney's pretty much locked out. So without a win, I think Byron and Blaney are pretty much locked out. Logano could definitely crawl out of that deficit, and I'd say if the top 5 gets a pretty rough finish, or if the top 5 gets a pretty rough finish, I think Newman could definitely make something out of his point standings. But Byron and Blaney, like I said, without a win, they might just not do too well. The next 3 races for us in this round of 8 is going to be Kansas, Texas, and Martinsville. So two cookie cutters and a short track. Martinsville's never been my favorite. I've always preferred Bristol, so this could end up going pretty poorly, potentially. If we take a look at how these drivers have finished in those races, at our Kansas race, we saw myself win, so that's a good sign. Busch and Hamlin were rounded out the top 3. And Ryan Newman got 4th, so if Ryan Newman were to crawl out of that deficit or even lock himself in, this might be a promising race. Logano got 7th, which overall is probably not going to bode too well for him. Blaney finished 10th, which is not likely to be quite good enough, and Byron placed 13th, so he's looking even farther back. And I think we'll take a look at the rest of them a little bit later. But I was kind of curious to see, at least how Kansas was going to go for those drivers. So, that was the round of 12. It was a pretty short episode, actually. This one's only taken me about 50 minutes, and it looks like the last one took about the same amount of time, so this isn't too out of the realm of the norm. So, that is going to do it for today, this Sunday. I'm probably going to stick to recording these on Sundays, so if I'm available, if I do it, this should end in about 2 weeks. So, I'll see you next Sunday. Have a good one, everybody.